All right, Jeff Zimmerman with the former light heavyweight and heavyweight champ of the world, now a Hall of Famer or soon to be in June at the International Boxing Hall of Fame, Michael Moore. How you doing, Michael?
Mr. Zimmerman, I'm fine. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I've never been called Mr. Zimmerman in boxing, so thank you.
It's
But
respectful.
you look like a professor with those glasses, by the way.
They
But
probably crooked. I'm blind as a bat.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. But listen, let me ask you because you're one of those fighters that had a hell of a career and obviously going into the Hall of Fame, but you don't hear much from, these days. You're not out there in the public, it doesn't seem to be. Where were you when you got the call for the Hall of Fame and how excited were you?
I was where I always was. I was probably no. Where was I when I got the call? I think I was in the house, and Ed called me and told me, and I was shocked.
Why were you shocked?
I was shocked because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
I never thought of being in the Hall of Fame. I I probably have Hall of Fame material starting from amateurs all the way up to professional. Um, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know, one of four to win a version of the light heavyweight and heavyweight champion of the world. And these names may ring a bell. Spinks, Roy Jones Jr., and James Toney. Did you know you were one of four to do that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And the first heavyweight, I believe, or Southpaw to win a version of a heavyweight title.
Yeah. I was the first Southpaw heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously you got the credentials, Hall of Famer. But I want to go back a little bit though, Michael, because again, I don't know if a lot of people know your story, and where you came from and how you got started. I was doing a little bit of homework. Your grandfather fought in the New York Golden Gloves with a guy by the name of Archie Moore, the Mongoose.
Yep. That's what I was told.
So you weren't around for that period.
Oh
Or
no. My
okay.
grandfather.
Well, yeah, that's right. You're too young. But what
Yeah.
what stories did you hear?
Um, it wasn't really much about stories. It was about more about what I could do and how I could do things. He was very, very focused on me, and it paid off.
So he didn't have a lot of old war stories for you when you were a kid.
No, I guess he tried to edge that out of his mind. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. But then as a teenager, you linked up with one of the greatest trainers of all time, the late great Emanuel Steward at Kronk Gym. How did that relationship come to be?
It came to be there was a amateur coach that was with the Kronk organization who he's unfortunately had passed away, Alex Shear. Alex was a genius and he was a great coach at Kronk. And something had happened to him and passed away. But he told Emmanuel about me because he saw me, I believe, at the Ohio State Fair.
Hmm.
And Emmanuel invited me over to a training camp, and I went, and he liked what he saw.
And you guys came together from that point to was he with you when you won the light heavyweight, your first title?
Yes, I started my professional career at Kronk. Yes.
Okay.
So he made part of that. Yes.
And talk about the Kronk gym, and who was all there when you were there?
Tommy Hearns, Hilmer Kenty, Jimmy Jimmy Paul, um, Cotty King. There was I don't remember really too many superstars or big guys because I was just focused on me and training and doing what I did because I believe I had the gym to myself until yeah.
Got it. Got it. You start your career on fire, 22-0, 22 knockouts. And then I believe you beat, was it Bert Cooper for the WBO title in 92?
Correct. Yes, I did. Yep.
And what do you remember from that experience?
Back then when I was a boxer, I had to have that tough armor. I had to have that. I was, I had to be that guy. I'm one of the nicest guys out there.
Hmm.
But fuck around and find out. You know what I mean? No. Um, what was the question? I'm sorry.
No, just the feeling of winning that first title. You were a national amateur champ. I mean, you were obviously highly sought, and you go on to win your first title against Bert Cooper. What was that feeling?
Yeah, well, the fight with Bert Cooper was my first heavyweight title. And Bert Cooper had just got done fighting Evander Holyfield. So a lot of people thought there was going to be, a big upset that he was on. But like I was explaining earlier, I was that, I was that man. I was that man. I was that guy. So I wasn't letting nobody beat me, and it was a hell of a fight, but I wasn't going down.
Right, right. And talk about the move from light heavyweight to heavyweight, because that's not something you see every day. What kind of, because you're not like the guys today, 6'5", 250,
Exactly.
you'd be a bridgerweight today or something, or cruiserweight. But what was that move like? What made that decision to go to heavyweight?
It was my decision because at the Kronk Gym, the way that Emanuel cooked, I couldn't keep that weight at 175. He made some good ass food and I had to eat it. But my body started to mature to being a man. So I started to grow. I was I said, man, I used to walk around 206 pounds and I would get all the way down to 173, 74 pounds. Depleted,
Hmm.
you know. I told Emmanuel, I said, Emmanuel, I don't want to lose no more weight. My body's blooming now. I don't want to lose no more. And he agreed with me. He was okay. Let's go for it. And I I was in like the 214s, but I was thick. And I had that mentality, ain't nobody beating me, you
Hmm.
know.
What was cruiserweight an option back then?
Not
No.
at all.
Yeah. So 107, or I'm sorry, 175 to 200 essentially. 201,
Well, they have it, cruiserweight was 200.
200. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you make the move to heavyweight, and you end up beating the real deal, Evander Holyfield, who obviously made the move up, became, you know, 4 or 5 time heavyweight champion himself. What was that experience like, sharing the ring with Evander?
Well, I don't think it wasn't like a highlight of my career. It was he shared the ring with Michael Moore as well. But I know what you mean. I'm just
Yeah.
pointing. Back then Evander was the guy. And I was the guy also. I told you I had that mentality and ain't nobody beat me. And the first time we fought, that was it. And I proved my point. And people were shocked, but I wasn't, because I thought I was invincible at that time. I was, 26 years old. We all thought we were invincible.
Right. At 26, we
Oh
all
yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you there. 7 months later, the fight that probably people talk about more than anything to this day, you and Big George Foreman, the comeback fight, Michael. Talk about that fight. You were dominating the fight, the whole fight. In the 9th round, he I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, catches you with some hard jabs, and then that one big right hand knocks you down, knocks you out. What do you recall from that time?
I remember seeing that right hand coming, and or I've probably seen it on a picture too many times. I'm thinking I see it like that. I was winning the fight convincingly, and he caught me. That's a part of the game. I was hurt. I was shooken up. That was a big man, though.
Mm.
He big and thick. You know, I think George. I forget. I think George weighed 250 something, and I weighed 222.
Mm.
I spoke about trying to go to have a super heavyweight division in the pros, because this day and age men are way bigger than they were decades ago.
Right.
6'9", 6'6", 6'5", that's too big. That's a disadvantage. Being that I just think that you should go light heavyweight, heavyweight, and super heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
You get rid of the cruiserweight division. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Yeah.
listening.
No. That makes a lot of sense. These guys are huge today in all sports, it seems. What? How hard? What? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Pardon me.
No. Go
Uh,
ahead.
See, there's no health insurance for fighters at all. So being that fighters unfortunately get some brain damage, neurological damage, I think this day and age being that the guys are so big, I think we need to move the gloves up. Every 6 ounces go to eights, eights go to tens, tens go to 12, 12s go to 14. There's no health insurance that takes care of fighters these days. So I think that's fair for the fighters to be granted bigger gloves, so they don't have to stay, so they don't have the brain damage or the neurological damages that boxing can occur. I think, you know, it's something that's need to be talked about. It's terrible.
Have you ever brought that up to anybody, like the sanctioning bodies?
Nope. First time I talked about it.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. You don't really think about it at those higher weight classes, but as you said, these guys are so massive today.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. So, you know, hopefully these sanctioning bodies, you know, they talk about safety and the health of the fighters. You know,
I have a question. Sanctioning bodies. What's the definition of that?
well, their job is to, you know, they have these belts for folks like yourself to become champions, and they're supposed to, you know, sponsor these fights and put money towards these fights and so forth. But you're paying fees, and supposedly the fees that are going in are supposed to go to fighters and the growth of the sport. But do we know? I mean, I guess that's the $1 million question. Is that money going back into the sport to help fighters that are in need? I think at some level, but not nearly enough, and not for enough fighters, I would say.
Mm, okay.
What is your thoughts on it?
What are my thoughts on what in particular?
Well, when you asked about the sanctioning bodies, you know, I think today the people that have been around still hold the ring magazine. The ring belt is as the belt. But it's a great question. I've never been asked that question. It's a great question.
Why are they producing all these belts to collect money?
Sure.
The fighter gets nothing. Listen, this is what I thought about one day. I wasn't born in this day and age, but back in the slave days, a master would take the guy who was the bigger, the badder, the best, and take him and bet on him. Makes the money. That's still how it goes on today, it seems. Or when my era,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's a shame how the boxing game isn't like any other sport there is. Why do you have all these commissioners in every state? Football, basketball, baseball, that they don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need all these commissioners. That's taking advantage of the slave. That's what I'm saying to get an example.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing racist or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. It's not right. I'm broke. Most fighters in my day and age broke, and this day and age now, where all the fighters that are, trying to fight one another, in the lower weight classes, they're talking about doing this and doing that. The managers are worried about how much money they're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't like is this it's just so bad. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't argue with you, Michael. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of the beauty of the sport to me is talking to people like you and getting to know people like you, and like Richard Steele is my mentor, and having those relationships. I've met so many great people, but there's so much stuff that's wrong with it. And like you said, someone like you should not be broke. You got to the top of the mountain, a lot of corruption.
There's a lot of boxers like that.
Yeah.
Broke, homeless. They don't have nothing.
Yeah.
But they charge all this money for belts, for everything that has to do with boxing. The fighter gets nothing but taken advantage of. Think about something. Back when I was fighting, 33 and a third was what the manager got. 33 and a third%. A promoter, 25%. I don't understand why in the fuck a promoter would take 25% from a fighter that he has nothing to do with. He's a promoter. You're a promoter. People are going to go off your name and what you've done, not of how much money you're taking from a fighter. You're taking 25% to market him. He markets himself. He has the name. Okay. I don't understand. Then they give the trainer who the fight already 10%. The promoter and the trainer needs to switch their percentages around. And the manager bullshit with that 33 and a third, 20%. Let the fighter get at least some of his money. The breakdown back when I was fighting, which I think is fucking criminal. You got a calculator in front of you, right?
Yeah.
So say for instance, let's go like this. 10 million. Let's start at 10 million. After the fight is over, the check goes to the manager. I don't know what's in contract. The contract's a different story. So the manager he takes his 33 and a third. The promoter takes 25 and the trainer takes 10. So that's 68 and a third%. It's almost 69.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the manager's job? It varies. A manager, in my case, will set up a training camp. We'll bring all the sparring partners in. Then once training camp is over, Michael Moore pays for everything. Manager doesn't pay, promoter doesn't pay, trainer doesn't pay, Michael Moore pays. Then we go to destination Vegas. Michael Moore pays for a manager's room, everything in the manager's room, everything in the trainer's room, everything in my room, everything in the promoter's room. That's criminal shit. Back then, I was probably paying 39% tax, 38, 39%. They give you money to keep you quiet, to keep you settled, so you don't talk about all the big money that they got from you. The game is not right. There's fighters who's lost their lives. There's fighters who have neurological damage. There's fighters who have brain damage. I've had 28 surgeries from fighting. Joints. Destroys me. I need a new hip. I have a total knee replacement. All because I put the wear and tear on my body for somebody else to gain the benefits from what I've done. That's fucked up. Straight up. That's fucked up. That's criminal. How do you go not, you get 33 and a third percent and you don't pay taxes on it? You get 25% and don't pay taxes? Still, the trainer gets the little bit that was closer to the fighter. That's not right. You don't pay tax. And I'm broke. The manager don't call me to say, hey, Michael, what you need? Nah, they don't do that because they used me already. That's not cool.
Yeah. Who was your manager back then, Michael? Was Manny also your manager, or did you have somebody else?
No, there was another guy.
And when you're living it and you're doing, you're focused on the fighting, right? You're focused on the road work, you're focused on the weight. You're expecting the people in your corner, right, that are going to take care of you. And they seem to chew you up and spit you out is kind of how this game works.
It is. It's all it's all fake, fabrication, fake. They act like they're your friends and they're doing good for you. And like that, I went and bought a house in Boca Raton one time. I thought I owned the house. They told me I owned it. I never owned it. The fuck do you do with my money?
Mhm.
Not cool. Not cool. Boxing is the most mistreated and taken advantage of and dogged out sport there is happening today. Boxing needs a whole overhaul. Put a stop to it and switch some shit up. People who never boxed a day in their life, you don't need to be a part of it. Football players hire former football players, baseball, former baseball players, basketball, former basketball players. Boxing very rarely hires boxers. Why? Why not? There's a lot of boxers that can speak and speak for themselves. I'm one of them. I'm too honest.
Hmm.
That's that's just the way I grew up. You know, I'm not going to cheat.
Do you watch the sport today, or do you just don't really pay attention to it based on, you know,
I'm a fan of boxing,
yeah,
the fist. I'm not a fan of the business.
sure.
The business, that's not the business is how it used to be. It used to be bad. And I don't see how that you get out of the IRS, go get that ass. Woo!
Hmm.
Tax free for 20 years. You're getting tax free money. 20 years that I was a pro. That's not fair. But I had to pay taxes, and I'm the fighter. Not cool.
So explain to me, because you mentioned the manager and the trainer get their cut, which I get, but why would they not have to pay taxes on it? Because you're paying those taxes?
Because they take it from the 10 million because I pay the taxes on it.
Hmm.
But they didn't tell me that it could be reversed where I could do a W-2 or a 1099. They wanted it their way, at 1099. That's not cool, man. That's criminal shit.
Yeah.
You go back. I wish they can go back and get all that. But it was in the contract. When you get a contract back in those days, they give you any and everything that you want. You know, it's bullshit. You know, everything just turns out to be bullshit. I'm not gonna say names of people. People know who they are.
Mhm.
You know, piece of that's piece. That's not cool shit, man. Most boxers from my day and beyond the past have been broke. You've seen them homeless, neurological damages. Change the gloves immediately so the fighters don't have to worry about the brain damage, or give back and have health insurance for the retired fighters. I'm forming a union also. People talk about it, I'm gonna be about it. It just needs to happen. I'm not angry, upset, mad. It just needs to happen because why is it allowed that you can do so much damage to a fighter? And I mean, there's not even a phone call to say, hey, this is so and so. I'm just calling to say hi if you need some help doing something. Nothing. But 20 years, you took my money.
Hmm.
That's not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, yeah, I've heard others talk about trying to do that union. It's definitely needed. Something's needed. The healthcare piece of it alone, um, there's
People will not allow it. They'll give them what they want so they don't do it.
hmm.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you something, Michael. Just I know you're still a fan of the sport itself and the fighters. But let me ask you though, because you fought George, you fought Evander. Was there ever a chance to fight Iron Mike, or did that never cross your path?
It never was a discussion because at that time Mike was away.
Hmm.
And so there was never any consultation at all about it. Nothing.
What would that fight look like? You guys would have been about the same size back, in those days, and that would have been an interesting fight, I think.
See, that's it. That's the key right there. I think. I don't. That's the hypothetical.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't think like that.
yeah, yeah. I hear you. Um, Talking about we'll call them the super heavyweights today, the Furies, the Usyks. Well, Usyk's probably not that big, but Wilder, Joshua. Uh, what do you think of these guys today? And who do you like? Who do you like watching?
Well, I'm a fan of boxing. So I like whoever steps through those ropes because they're risking their lives. And I know they work their ass off to be there.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of that.
yeah. So no predictions in Fury, Usyk, or anything like that.
Mm, Usyk, you have to understand something. The last fight, Tyson Fury fought Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou was 260 something pounds, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Tyson Fury was 250, I think. Something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Okay. Um he couldn't push Francis Ngannou around. He's gonna be able to push Usyk around. But Usyk's he's from the amateurs. He's a good southpaw that throws in angles. And he's quick. He's not going to stand there and idolize his punches. He's going to move after every punch. I'm not picking a winner. They're both good fighters.
Yeah, yeah. You think, and you mentioned Ngannou, obviously he held his own against Tyson Fury. What about him and Joshua? You think he has a shot against Joshua, or I guess you always have a puncher's chance at that level.
Well, Joshua isn't on the level as it's unfortunate because I'm a fan of Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua doesn't have that dog, like, you go in there, I'm fucking somebody up, period. You know, it seems like to me, he wants to be everything perfect, his hands, his body, throwing the punches right. Um, he doesn't take chances. He doesn't risk. He doesn't go for a risk. Ngannou knows how to use his weight. Being that he uses his weight, it's
Hmm.
it's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah.
I think Tyson Fury hit Ngannou on the chin. It didn't. Somebody else called. Yeah, Ngannou got hit on the chin by Tyson Fury. Didn't budge. Tyson Fury get hit on the chin by Evander Usyk. He think he gonna walk through them punches, but he punches crisp. I like the good southpaw. He's a great southpaw.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you, and we'll wrap up here in a minute, Michael. I really appreciate this, man. I love hearing your story and just, your just thoughts on your career and everything going on in the business, because I think a lot more people need to talk about it for things to get fixed. And especially guys like you who've been to the mountaintop. But there's one fight that everyone's been waiting for, outside of Canelo Benavidez, which who knows if that ever happens, but light heavyweights. I'm trying to stick in your division, Bivol and Beterbiev. It seems like a throwback kind of fight. People have been waiting for it. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
Two good fighters. May the best man win.
Yeah.
It's going to be a crafty fight. Them guys probably fought each other as amateurs growing up, and or was on the same team or something. But ooh, that's a great fight.
Yeah. It's a good matchup for sure. Hopefully it plays out that way in the ring.
Yeah.
But listen, man, I don't want to keep you, but I did have one more question for you. You were with a who's who of trainers. We mentioned Manny Steward, one of the all-time greats, Benton, Lou Duva, Teddy Atlas, Freddie Roach. You got guys that move around a little bit, but you moved around quite a bit, it seemed like. Why the changes? And
I was a difficult dude to handle.
mm,
I didn't give a fuck about nothing. I'm going to do it my way, the way I wanted to do it. I knew boxing. And if you didn't like it, bye.
mm.
That's what I was. I was ignorant. I didn't know any better. I thought I had to be tough, you know? Dumb
What,
shit.
I'm sorry, what?
Dumb shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were young, like you said, you think you
Exactly.
know everything.
Exactly.
Who was the best though? Who was the best that, in your opinion, that you worked under?
There was never a best trainer because every trainer has a special part of them that they let their fighter borrow. They teach them something that they've learned. And that way that fighter can go out there and display it. So they're all special.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you definitely worked with a who's who there. But listen, man, again, congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Thank
Going in with the late Diego Corrales, Ricky Hatton, Jackie Callan, Ivan Calderon. I know I'm missing some, but I know you weren't expecting it, but I was happy to see your name on there. I grew up in that, I'm 54, grew up in that era watching you and doing your thing. So congrats on that. And will you
thank
be
you.
out there, I assume, for the big week?
God willing, I'll be there.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
As long as I
listen,
keep up.
what's that?
As long as I keep waking up, I'll be there.
Yeah. Well, you look good, man. Are you in the gym now today? Like you look like you're in
No,
good shape.
no. I walk. I eat right. I don't want to be no fat dude.
What do you weigh? What do you weigh these days?
I don't know. I haven't been on the scale. I'm probably about 212, 214, something like that.
You got your fighting weight. There you go.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, man, thanks for doing this. I hope we could do it again, Michael. And if there's any news that comes through on the union stuff, let's chat about it. And hopefully this will get some traction out there.
All right, Jeff, I appreciate the time and thank you very much.
All right, thanks, man.
You're
Congrats.
welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.